Every single investment decision you make is not really a decision at all. It's an emotional hijacking. Two invisible forces control your financial moves more than any spreadsheet, algorithm, or market analysis ever could. Fear and greed. They're the puppet masters behind every buy and every sell. And most investors never even realize they're being controlled. Welcome to the channel where we dig into the psychology that actually moves markets. If you're serious about understanding your money, hit subscribe so you don't miss what we uncover here. Let's start with a simple truth. You think you're rational. You think you sit down, you look at the numbers, you make a logical choice based on fundamentals and value. But that's not what's happening. Your brain is running on ancient survival software. That fight-or-flight response that kept your ancestors alive is the exact same system screaming at you when the market drops 5%. It's fear, and it's loud. When you see red across your portfolio, you don't think clearly. You feel threatened. Your amygdala, the emotional center of your brain, hijacks your prefrontal cortex, which is the rational part. And in that moment, you're not thinking about long-term wealth. You're thinking about survival. You're thinking about not losing what you have. That's when fear makes you sell at the bottom. Greed works the opposite way, but it's just as destructive. When you see your neighbor talking about their cryptocurrency gains, or you see a stock up 300%, something shifts in your brain. It's not greed in the way we usually think about it. It's more like scarcity panic. Your brain believes that if you don't act right now, you'll miss out forever. Fear of missing out is just fear wearing a different mask. The dopamine hits when you imagine that gain. Your brain starts predicting the future as if it's guaranteed. You imagine the lifestyle, the freedom, the validation, and suddenly you're buying at the top because you're terrified of being left behind. This is not stupidity. This is neuroscience. This is how human brains actually work. The really dangerous part is that fear and greed don't act alone. They work together in a cycle. You get greedy and buy high. Then the market corrects, even slightly, and fear takes over. You panic sell at a loss. Then you watch from the sidelines as the price recovers and climbs higher. Now greed comes roaring back. You jump in again, buying even higher than before. You're chasing. And if you've done this even once, you know exactly how it feels. That gut punch, when you realize you sold too early or bought too late. That's your emotions playing you. If you're nodding along to this, like the video, so more people see what actually moves markets. Here's what separates the investors who actually build wealth from everyone else. It's not that they don't feel fear and greed. They do. The difference is they've built systems that protect them from their own emotions. Warren Buffett doesn't watch his portfolio daily. He doesn't check prices obsessively. He's built rules so strict that emotion doesn't get a vote. He has an investment philosophy that's locked in, and he follows it almost robotically. That takes the emotion out of the equation. Your emotions are useful for other things. They keep you safe. They help you connect with people. They drive your ambitions. But in investing, they are liabilities. One of the simplest guardrails is automation. If you set up automatic investments every single month, you don't have to decide whether now is a good time to buy. The decision's already made. You're buying high, you're buying low, you're averaging in. Your emotions never get consulted. Another guardrail is having clear rules about selling. Decide in advance when you'll sell, not when the market's moving and your emotions are firing on all cylinders. Write it down. When this happens, I sell. When this happens, I hold. Having it written down makes it real. It's not a suggestion your emotional brain can ignore when things get intense. Fear and greed also live in different time frames. Fear is immediate. It's the next hour, the next day. Greed can stretch a bit longer, but it's still short-term thinking. Real wealth is built in decades. If you can shift your time frame, you can reduce the emotional noise. A stock dropping 30% is only a disaster if you needed that money next month. If you don't need it for 15 years, it's a buying opportunity. The time frame is everything. That's why so many wealthy investors talk about time in the market versus timing the market. Timing the market requires perfect emotional control. You have to buy before everyone else realizes the opportunity, then sell before the peak. No human can do that consistently. But time in the market? That's just patience. That's just staying in. That's just boring. And boring is exactly how wealth gets built. There's another layer to this that most people miss. Your social circle amplifies fear and greed. You're at dinner, someone mentions their investment that's up 70%. You feel that hit of FOMO. Your friend says the market's crashing and everyone's panicking. You feel that fear. The people around you are constantly feeding your emotions about money, and you're feeding theirs. This is called social proof, and it's powerful. We are herd animals. We look to others to determine what's safe and what's dangerous. So when you see everyone buying one thing, your brain treats it as a signal that it's good. When you see everyone selling, your brain treats it as a signal that it's bad. But the herd is usually wrong at the extremes. The herd buys at the top and sells at the bottom, when the herd feels most confident. So what do you actually do with this knowledge? First, awareness. Just knowing that fear and greed are driving your decisions is half the battle. You can't control what you don't see. Second, build systems. Automate, set rules, make decisions in advance when your emotions aren't screaming. Third, extend your time frame. Think in years and decades, not hours and days. Fourth, limit your information flow. You don't need to check your portfolio constantly. You don't need to watch financial news all day. All that does is feed the emotion cycle. Check in quarterly if you're long-term invested.